When I started doing commentary, I wish this drama would have hit, because this was a glorious drama. This was one of the best dramas I'd seen on YouTube in a very long time. This has to do with a guy named In Praise of Shadows, and In Praise of Shadows just went absolutely wacko Encino mode and nuked his own career. And I saw the internet anarchist, he's been popping up in my feed a lot. I know this is an old drama, but I just wanted to revisit it because it was one of the greatest dramas I think that ever happened on YouTube. It was one of the most unhinged bread tuber moments of all time. But this is by internet anarchist, how exposing Wendigoon ended his career.
Not too long ago, the YouTuber In Praise of Shadows was a relatively successful media analyst with a decent following. He delved into the meanings behind horror movies, shows, and artworks, all while subtly promoting his left-leaning political views. But then, out of nowhere, he posted an over 3-hour-long video slandering and exposing Wendigoon, Shoeonhead, Brandon Buckingham, and a handful of other prominent YouTubers.
Bro, he just was basically sticking his hand in a bucket of just YouTubers and throwing them at the screen and slandering as many of them as possible. Now, this is a known tactic by the RedTube community. This is why I have no respect for the RedTube community, because the RedTube community is dumb, insane, has absolutely lost the plot. They will take anything they see and they will stretch it to fit their narrative every single time. They don't do any actual, they come off as intellectuals, right? They all want to tout that they're these high-end intellectuals. Look how smart I am. You big dum-dums are all so stupid. And then they don't even do the smallest amount of research ever. I mean, the guy actually talks about how bad all these people are and how they're all far right, right? And then uses the most far-right guy to slander Brandon Buckingham and Sneeko.
This video bombed harder than Twitter rebranding to X. It shattered the reputation In Praise of Shadows spent 5 years building, overnight, and made him the laughingstock of the internet. It's got so bad that when you search for his channel on YouTube, the first video you see is about how disastrously bad this last one video was.
In reality, you're a delusional, hateful hypocrite, and this is the worst video I've ever seen.
Hi, I'm the Internet Anarchist. I create weekly YouTube documentaries.
Hi, Internet Anarchist! We should make out in a corner! Oh, no, not really, though. That would be weird.
And today, we'll be looking into the destructive downfall of In Praise of Shadows, a YouTuber who thought it would be a good idea to go after some of the most beloved creators on the platform. With arguments so poorly constructed and illogical, it almost appears to be a parody on why they are the ultimate evil. On the 25th of May 2024, Zane, the host of In Praise of Shadows, uploaded a now-deleted video titled Bad Conservative Horror Movies, a video that seemed no different to his previous content at a first glance, but started off on an extremely bizarre topic that had little to do with his title or thumbnail. He opened the video with a lengthy rant about a terrible horror convention he attended a couple months prior, labeling it as quote redneck and
I hope to God, I know Internet Anarchist will show it, but I hope to God he shows the clip of In Praise of Shadows comparison for The Hills Have Eyes, because it is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. I love these guys that their whole premise of their YouTube channel is like, what if I do this stuff, but really insert my politics into every single piece of media I watch. It's the same problem I have with the anti-woke guys. They annoy the shit out of me because everything has to do with how woke something is, how important it is to the movement or whatever. It's so gay.
quote unprofessional.
Over the weekend, I traveled to Concord, North Carolina to attend this year's Mad Monster Party, which was far and away the most redneck and unprofessional convention that I'd ever been to in my life.
This introduction alone hinted at the political bias that would taint the rest of the arguments in his video, and after
Bro, he was basically like, all the rednecks, they made me walk. Their parking was too far away. I had to walk like, my feeble little legs had to move. They had to move to get to the convention. Oh, these fucking rednecks don't understand their disabilities or whatever. It was so gay.
small details like the distance to the parking lot and material used for the weekend pass, he then presents a theory of his that's a stretch at best and utterly absurd at worst.
I think there's actually not one, but two distinct horror communities. One that is more concerned with writing and thinking about how our own experiences and world are reflected through art. And then you have another that is more conservative and traditionally capital A American, and is based more in basic consumerism and viewing movies strictly as entertainment and nothing else.
So, according to him, horror fans with right-leaning political views are incapable of appreciating the subtext and artistry behind horror movies and shows, basically calling them intellectually inferior. Now, you might—
And this is one of the worst things I see on YouTube all the time. This is something I hate. This is where because I've covered a lot of these breadtuber or socialist guys on the channel because I think they're extremists and I think they're disingenuous, right? And eventually Sneeko or I mean Nick Fuentes or somebody will do something stupid, I'll cover them up for being absolutely retarded as well, right? I just, like, I'm going to yell at retards on the internet. That is what I do here. But the thing that I think is so funny about, especially from this community right now, is the fact that they think that because they're left-wing, they're more intellectual, and all the other people are dumb morons and will never be able to understand the nuances of anything because you're fucking retarded, you stupid rednecks, and you're all dumb. You don't know how to view media through a critical lens. And it's so funny that he starts this by showing his intellectual superiority and then refuses to do even the most minor amount of decent fucking reporting, research, or anything in this fucking video. Dude shows the fuck up. He shows the fuck up and just like makes shit up on the fucking fly.
Think that after a nearly 25-minute rant about the conservative leanings of the convention's organizers, Zane would finally get to the point of the video. But shocker, he doesn't. Instead, he switches gears to talk about how rough his life has been due to the criticism he received on his video analyzing the Hills Have Eyes movie franchise.
In the time since making that video, very often it is the case that when conservatives want to criticize me, they will go back to that and use it as a weapon.
He then spends another 25 minutes or so reading mean tweets that criticize his views on the beloved movie franchise and complaining about receiving these tweets. During this—
Bro, this is so fucking— I hate this shit, dude. I hate when they whine about, like, they're attacking me, you're coming after me. Bro, shut the fuck up, bro. Every time I make a video on one of these fucking guys, my whole comment section is just people getting mad at me. What you do is you move the fuck on, you keep making content, and eventually your audience will stick around. But the problem is with a lot of these guys is they think that they're doing like some masterful class of art. So their uploads are so sporadic, and then when they make one bad take, they just like let it overly consume them because they're so used to having everybody stroke their fucking egos. And the fact of the matter is, his fucking comparison in The Hills Have Eyes, it's not even just a bad take for conservatives. If I was liberal, I would, like, if I was like pretty liberal, I would still disagree with the fact that the cannibals are the same as black people in The Hills Have Eyes. That's just a dumb fucking comparison.
he also states this.
By twisting my words in very bad faith to make it look like I said something that I obviously did not intend if you had watched the video. Usually in an attempt to make me either look crazy or cartoonish or racist.
Which is extremely ironic considering the nonsensical statements he makes about other creators later in the video. For context, he's mostly talking about tweets like these that label him as racist due to what he said in his analysis video. However, what makes Zane's self-victimization—
I mean, the whole self-victimization thing here is so funny because what he said is pretty fucking bad. It's pretty fucking bad. It's not a good analysis of it because he basically takes the heroes of the film and says, oh no, well, because they're white, they're the bad guys and the cannibals are the good guys.
completely baseless is that regardless of what he thinks, the racism allegations are not entirely untrue. So, he not only fails to acknowledge that what he said was wrong, but also labels all criticism of his words as something right-leaning conservatives say to, quote, attack him. Here, he also talks at length about how he's barely making ends meet with the money he's earning from YouTube, which is an unusual thing to discuss in a video about horror movies. However, Brandon Buckingham offers a pretty good explanation in his reaction video of what Zane is really trying to get at.
There was a month last year where I only made $500 in ad revenue. I can't live off that.
What does he think he will accomplish by saying stuff like this? He thinks he's just the sweetest little birthday boy and he's not deserving of any criticism whatsoever. He thinks he deserves success and money and praise, but instead, all he's getting is hate and he's broke.
Up until this point though, Zane's video has been nothing but ramblings about barely connected topics like bad horror conventions, the online criticism he's received, and his financial situation.
One of the absolute worst videos in YouTube history. This shit was so fucking bad. I remember when I saw it, it popped on my feed because I was like, I'm a Wendigoon fan. I watch like his shit and stuff. I'm not like a fucking Wendigoon like cock glazer or anything, but I enjoy his content, right? So I like saw this. I saw bad conservative horror movies, right? And I saw Wendigoon's fucking face and I said, yes, I'm fucking watching this shit. And it was so, it made no sense. It was so fucking out of left field. I'm like, bro, I don't give a fuck that you're not making enough money. Get a regular fucking job, bro. Like, oh no, I'm not making enough off of my ad revenue. Oh, it's like, bro, I sit here and I grind my fucking ass off daily and I'm not even monetized yet. And so I just fucking grind on the daily. Also work a full-time job. Also am a pretty decent parent, I think, maybe. And my wife would have to tell me if I'm actually a good dad or not. She would be like, are you a good father? And I say, let's play with the baby. Anyways. I try to balance all these fucking things on the tip of my penis, right? It's like the spinning plates, but it's like a spinning plate, a chopstick, another spinning plate, and another chopstick, all on the fucking edge of my dick while I'm fucking shaking my titties. And I'm doing just fine, but I'm not gonna like quit my job the day I get monetized because I'm not a fucking retard.
However, an hour and 20 minutes into the video, he said something really strange.
Trust me when I say that conservatives are perfectly capable, just like anyone else, of being funny and learning how to produce art, but in practice is dangerous, and allows the slow infiltration of conservative beliefs into places that they should not be allowed.
And here's the thing, we can only have liberal beliefs seep into our fucking world. We're only allowed to have like liberal movie makers because like we don't want them, those dirty fucking nasty conservative. This is what I hate about this tribalism. I've always hated tribalism like this. I think that there is great art that comes from conservatives, great art that comes from liberals, and I hate when something becomes overly preachy, because what happens a lot of times that when you create like an echo chamber, and this is what you see with a lot of the Daily Wire shit, and this is what you see with a lot of the shit that the fucking anti-woke guys call woke, right? You see kind of a shift of, you have a room full of circle jerkers here, a room full of circle jerkers here, and they're all just bukkake-ing each other on an endless spree, and us as the consumer is just getting fucking slop. We're getting preachy, annoying slop that has no actual like merit. And it's funny when a director like the guy who created the Terrifier series is like, bro, I just wanted to make a cool slasher movie. I wanted to watch people get fucked up. I had no political intentions going into this. And then people got mad at him for the fact that they want all art to be political. It's the same thing when people like come at me and they're like, comedians, all comedy has a bias, or is trying to tell you their political beliefs. And it's like, bro, get the fuck out of here, dog. Get the absolute fuck out of here, because I'm sorry, most of the time I'm just making jokes, dog. I'm just making jokes. When I used to get up on stage, my goal was just to be fucking funny. I wasn't considering the political connotations of anything I fucking said. I'm just there to make jokes, dog.
This made it clear that the video isn't about horror or movies. Instead, it's about rejecting the conservative belief system and everything relating to it. Understanding this bit would also help make sense of what the entire controversy is about. Zane's weird statements regarding Wendigoon and other YouTubers. But before we get into the specifics of what he said, it's important to note that the issue people have with Zane's video isn't that he said something mean about their favorite YouTubers. Instead, the majority of the backlash stems from the fact that
I mean, the majority of the backlash is the fact that he didn't do any research, and he just kind of said, what he does is, so they make butt plugs, right? Butt plugs are a thing that are made, and then they have the tail ones. And what he was doing is he was walking around with the tail butt plug in, and he was kind of whipping it back and forth, showing how fucking cool he was. And then he yanks it out and takes the poop and slaps it on screen with like one of those cool like little like, wow, you know that shit you used to do in high school, like the. Well, he was doing that with shit on the screen, bro, and none of it was logical. It was just fucking spewing shit at the screen.
Zane makes some outlandish claims about the lives and true intentions of these YouTubers, and as you'll see, he does not present any solid evidence or logical explanation to back up his words. Over 2 hours and 40 minutes into the video, Zane shifts his focus from criticizing conservatives in general to targeting one specific YouTuber, Wendigoon. He starts his rambling with some serious allegations.
That, as you will hopefully come to see, should not be seen as the wholesome, southern-friendly dad persona that he has publicly constructed around himself in the past several years. And that, like many people who talk about being Christians as much as he does, has a dark past with deep ties to far-right extremism.
Then he goes on to state that he does not respect Wendigoon's opinions because he's rich and young.
I have no need or desire to hear 5 hours of opinions on Blood Meridian from a 21-year-old millionaire.
I'm sorry, guys. You shouldn't want to watch a video about a book if he's a millionaire. No, you have to be poor. Poor like me. Only poor people like me who don't get viewership should be able to talk about anything. Bro, I fucking hate this, dog. It's like, it's so gay. It's so fucking gay and retarded when anybody does this type of shit. They're like, oh my god, look how privileged they are. They're not allowed to understand things. They're not allowed to think on a critical level once they've made some money. Go fuck yourself, dude. That is such a it's so fucking dumb, dude. Here's the thing about why Wendigoon's thing on Blood Meridian, and honestly, a lot of his book breakdowns are really good. It's because it almost feels like he's just giving you the story itself and then putting in some light. He just wants to put in some light opinions. He doesn't really put in a ton of like hard opinions. He just kind of like relays a lot of the points of the case, and it feels like I'm just getting a look into the situation. Now, there's obviously people who go about this type of shit in a much different way. Like, obviously, if we were talking about like Count Dankula is going to put his fucking little edgy fucking jokes in at every section. So I like Count Dankula because when I'm watching the shit on his like looks at what happened in history and stuff, I'm looking for it to be the asshole perspective of what happened in history. When I want the facts, I go to somebody like Wendigoon, who's going to provide me with a bunch of information and give me a decent read on the situation. That's why I would go to somebody like Wendigoon. It's never because it's like, oh, I want to know it because he's gonna conflate God or whatever. And I like Wendigoon talks about like his religion every once in a while, but I never found it to be his overwhelming premise of his channel.
Wendigoon's media analysis skills due to his financial background. So let's get this straight. He complains about his own money problems and then bashes a YouTuber for being young and financially stable. This not only exposes the true intentions behind his so-called criticism, but also reveals a glaring hypocrisy. Also,
yeah, dude, I see that. Just a boy just put in chat, Wendigoon seems like one of the few good YouTubers. Wendigoon seems like the guy that, like, it's funny, Wendigoon works with so many different people in the YouTube landscape, and eventually, I'm hoping that my edgy ass will be able to fucking have a video with Wendigoon. That would be fucking hype. One day, maybe I'm big enough, he's like, yo, King Jiffy, I wanna pop in on your video and be like the rational speaking person in your unhinged bullshit. That would be fucking awesome, and I hope one day that happens. Because, like, that's what my goal is to work with a bunch of different people, no matter their background and no matter their views. I want to work with a bunch of different people. That's like what I think that's what makes YouTube great, is by reaching out and working with a bunch of different people from a bunch of different backgrounds. That's cool about this social media landscape we live in. But people like this want to gatekeep everything and make it it's only theirs, and we're the only ones who are allowed to like it because we decided it to be that way.
by this logic, if the In Praise of Shadows channel becomes successful and makes Zane rich, will his own critiques and opinions on movies become irrelevant as well?
Yeah, he's a rich guy, so all of a sudden, all of his views are fucking wrong.
Zane claims that Wendigoon follows social media accounts of controversial figures like Kyle Rittenhouse, who shot and killed 2 people during a protest in 2020. He then shows a screenshot of a tweet that Wendigoon supposedly made in support of Rittenhouse. However, he also immediately admits that there is no proof the screenshot is real to begin with.
Although, since I did not take these screenshots, they do have to be taken with a grain of salt.
So, if these screenshots could be fake, why is he using them as supposed proof of Wendigoon's support?
Because he's a disingenuous little fucking like glazing monster douchebag. I don't know why I said glazing. He's just a fucking he's a fucking used tampon that is just getting squeezed all over the information of the world. He refuses to do actual fucking research, and that's the problem with these type of people is they can't find exactly. They go out looking for exactly what they want to find. They don't wait for the information to come to them, and that's something I have stood for a long time. Is if you're going to make stuff like this, you make sure that the information is solid, right? Yeah, if you're gonna go out and sit down and make a fully well edited video that has all these fucking dynamic backgrounds and all this evidence that piles up, you go out trying to look for both sides of the argument and see what the actual truth is. But these motherfuckers don't want the truth. They want to reaffirm their bias, bro. And that's such a fucking cum falcon behavior way of looking at things, and I hate that. It's just not cool.
For Rittenhouse? Well, in his
business taxes was always so all-consuming.
Like, take for example, I don't know why I didn't just pause during the video, or I'll mute the ad and talk here. Take for example, like, even with my video on Hassan, where I talk about, like, I actually break down Hassan only caring about this one conflict compared to, like, the Uyghur genocide, right? It was one thing that I was annoyed because I remember Hassan constantly talking about, like, how everything was anti-Chinese propaganda, and then watching him utilize what he called anti-Chinese propaganda in Al Jazeera as evidence to support the current thing going on in Palestine, which I can look at both and say both of them are atrocities, but he couldn't, and I wanted to highlight that. So I made sure to find as many articles as possible about what was going on, and to be honest, I didn't find a whole lot that's saying there wasn't a genocide that happened in the Uyghur camp. So it was one of those things that it's like I went out and I was waiting for something to prove me wrong, and nothing fucking proved me wrong, right? You sit down, you look at the evidence, and if the evidence says this, you put it out. But to take and be like, well, I don't know if this screenshot is real. Like, what the fuck, dude? I hate when people are just like pulling shit out of their ass. They're on fucking r/Wendigoon sucks big donkey wiener, and they're finding all the shit that these fucking weirdos decided to make as bad faith arguments and make up shit.
Own words, it's because Wendigoon never publicly claimed that these screenshots are fake. So surely there must be some truth to them.
These have been widespread across the internet, and to my knowledge, I can find no examples of him directly saying that these are not real. So he may or may not have actually followed these accounts or supported them.
Even though it's entirely possible that Wendigoon might not have seen these screenshots before, or is choosing to ignore them on purpose to avoid any further drama. It's not difficult to create a fake screenshot, so jumping to conclusions based solely on silence is completely illogical. A comment on Wendigoon's official subreddit also presents this whole argument from a different perspective. You ever heard of hate following a person? That's what's probably doing with those sus accounts. So even if we assume that these screenshots are real, just because Wendigoon follows Rittenhouse doesn't mean he agrees with his political views. The next argument Zane brings up is even more ridiculous, with evidence that can only be described as laughable. According to Zane, Wendigoon is the mastermind behind the Boogaloo Boys extremist group, because the group's name is derived very similar to Wendigoon's old username, Boogaloo Boy. Unfortunately for him, Wendigoon clarified in a Reddit post that he has nothing to do with the group. He explained that he originally used the term Boogaloo based on Che Guevara's code word for revolution, as he's always been a proponent of freedom and liberty. However, as the term became more mainstream, it was hijacked by far-right groups, and its original meaning was distorted into something completely different. Upon realizing its new connotation, Wendigoon completely distanced himself from it, and began posting media analysis videos under his current channel name. Despite this clarification, Zane still insists that Wendigoon has ties to the Boogaloo Boys group because he wears Hawaiian shirts in his videos.
Also,
It's fucking over. His shirt has a collar and buttons, and it has floral patterns. Get him, boys. Get him. Burn him at the stake. Wendigoon is a far-right extremist. He actually thinks that all black people are gross and poo-poo people, and he's the worst, because that's exactly what I want people to believe, and that's what I'm putting in my fucking video. What is my evidence? Did I not mention the Hawaiian shirts thing? Because I thought I mentioned the Hawaiian shirts thing.
it should be noted that the Boogaloo Boys are known for wearing Hawaiian shirts. And guess who else always has on a Hawaiian shirt, despite the fact that he publicly totally does not share in their beliefs, guys.
Does this mean that anyone who wears Hawaiian shirts is connected to this extremist group? Here, Zane also nitpicks on the exact words Wendigoon uses in his Reddit post regarding the Boogaloo boys.
People who are centrist, or on the left, do not use the phrasing Antifa members. The only people who say that.
Oh my god, dude, I fucking hate this argument, bro. Before I even get into this, dude, the Antifa thing is so... I remember, I was living in Portland, right? And I remember, it was one of those things, don't believe your fucking lying eyes shit, because it was like, Antifa, ACAB, none of it exists. It's not real. And I'm driving to fucking work, and I see fucking Antifa and ACAB spray painted on, like, every park bench, on walls and shit. I'm like, yeah, dude. Totally doesn't exist. I'm gonna close my eyes and pretend that I didn't see any of that. It's like, it's so fucking disingenuous. It's so bullshit that they're like, oh, well, the other side has extremist groups, but ours doesn't exist. It's not a real thing. Just trust me, bro. Trust me, bro.
Are the ones that see Antifa as some sort of homogenous radical left-wing activist group.
As if saying Antifa members instead of just Antifa somehow proves he holds alt-right beliefs. After these illogical arguments, Zane then moves on to attacking people Wendigoon has interacted with, online or in person, accusing them of being part of the same racist alt-right group as Wendigoon. He starts with Turkey Tom.
Wendigoon is
He got Turkey Tom, the fucking edgy boy himself. Turkey Tom's out there just being the biggest racist of the entire universe. The funny thing about this is, like, Turkey Tom has said the N-word on multiple occasions, and when Turkey Tom reacted to this, he was like, motherfucker, oh, he might have said the N-word? Bitch, I got clips out there. I was like, bro, weird place to double down, dog. Weird fucking place to double down.
very publicly friends with Turkey Tom. They have been seen together on multiple occasions, and I've seen online mentions that Tom was either at his wedding or at the very least was invited.
And why does Zane think Turkey Tom is alt-right? Because of some dumb stuff he said on the internet as a teenager over 6 years ago. Next, Zane targets the internet historian, accusing him of being alt-right because he once jokingly said his birthday was on the 20th of April, which also happens to be Hitler's birthday. He completely ignores that April 20th is also 420, the haha funny infamous weed day. He then continues to mention a number of other YouTubers who had some positive interactions with Wendigoon, including Brandon Buckingham, Shoeonhead, Oombaville, and some ordinary gamer, all while making absurd statements about each one of them. For instance, this is what he says about Brandon Buckingham.
He is friends with Brandon Buckingham. a gun-
Uses his fucking grandfather in the hospital picture. He could have used anything, but he uses Brandon Buckingham with his like bedridden grandfather in the hospital, which is so fucking disgusting. It's so like weird. It was a weird fucking pull. Like, you could tell he was trying to be malicious.
YouTuber who has been accused of threatening
Completely ignoring the fact that the grape allegations came from Sneeko of all people and were not backed by any evidence. Similarly, he accuses Shoeonhead
He also calls Brandon Buckingham a gun tuber when that is not even close to what Brandon Buckingham is. He has like 2 videos where he's shooting guns.
being a
Join Google Fi Wireless.
Like, he definitely is not a gun tuber. He went to like what is it? He went to fucking shoot guns with the AK guy and Turkey Tom and all them during like one of their big shooting range videos. That's basically his gun tube perspective. He's not really a giant gun tuber. He's not out here like fucking Kentucky Ballistics making gun content on the daily. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I don't see anything wrong with making that content, for one. I think that's fine. If you like guns, you should be able to make content about guns, right? But the fact that he's trying to use it as one pejorative, and two range day at unsub. Yeah. It was just a range day, bro. It was just a range day video. And like the fact that he's already like putting it on the perspective is if you're like if you like guns, you're a bad person. That shows you have a disgusting bias and have no thought process of trying to respect or critically look at the other side with any sort of fairness, and I fucking hate that type of fucking bullshit. They're basically just fucking sticking their hand between their ass cheeks and smelling it to reaffirm their bias, which is so gross. And I hate when people that pretend that they're intellectual refuse to at least look into and like critically have an idea of what the other side believes, or what the other side, like the true beliefs of what another side might think. I hate when people call themselves intellectual and refuse to take in all the information that's readily at hand. I feel like that's not intellectual. That's being a little fucking cum goblin.
Of masquerading as a leftist because a joke she made on Twitter, taking her words out of context and presenting them as malicious, which is ironic, considering he complained about the same thing happening to him earlier in the video.
Very often it is the case that when conservatives want to criticize me, they will go back to that and use it as a weapon, by twisting my words in very bad faith to make it look like I said something that I obviously did not intend if you had watched the video.
Speaking of irony, near the end of the video, Zane says this about the area Wendigoon grew up in.
It is about as white as you could possibly get. Deep Appalachia is very white country, and for the most part, is exceptionally racist.
All of Appalachia is full of cross-burning racists. I said it because I was there one time. And everybody was wearing white hoods. All of them are the most racist people to ever live. How do I know this? Because I fucking said it. Do I need other information? I'm the intellectual person here. You're just a far-right doo-doo fucking retard head.
Essentially labeling a whole community of people as racists just because they are white and live in the Appalachian region of the US. Isn't this type of stereotyping based on race racist in and of itself?
Well, no, because racism only matters because of like preconceived power in the society that we live in, guys. Because you can only be racist against people who don't have the power, because the power is only provided from white people, and white people have power, so you can't be racist against them, because I'm just gonna keep word salading into oblivion because I'm the super smart guy, guys.
Same thing Zane has been trying to accuse Wendigoon of being. Finally, Zane ends the video by calling for Wendigoon's cancellation, saying that he should not be allowed in public because of the alleged racism.
That was fucking wild, bro. He shouldn't, he shouldn't be allowed to make videos or be allowed to even walk in public, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck, dude? What, you just want, like, a team of snipers trained on Wendigoon? What are we talking about here, boy? What are we talking about here, buddy? You just trying to get this guy Offski McTofsky? Like, get the fuck out of here.
Even though he did not provide a single credible piece of evidence to back his claims.
But the reason that I care is because this does not belong in horror, or anywhere. I care deeply about horror, and everything that he does has demonstrated so far in his career that he should not be welcomed in our spaces, or even, you know, just in public in general.
Even if we ignore the blatant misrepresentation of facts and absurd arguments with no logical backing, the whole video feels off from start to finish. It's like a poor attempt at creating an H-Bomber Guy video, except without everything that makes H-Bomber Guy's content engaging, namely his research, humor, and evidence. But why make such a video in the first place, when there are plenty of horror media franchises left to analyze? Well, the obvious answer is views. You see, Zane
Well, yeah, he wanted views. He knew that if he... this is something I talked about on a different video. I talked about with Kai Cenat versus fucking XQC. He just wanted to give about the Wendigoon shot. But no, what he saw was, he's like, I can take down this big person in my community, show people that why I don't like him and why you shouldn't like him, while same time elevating myself so that when I make videos, they will go to me instead of Wendigoon. And it will bring drama in and you will get clicks. I mean, it's the YouTube fucking system. Like, I mean, there's so many people I see where they're like, oh, well, I'm just going to do this one niche. I'm not ever going to branch out. And then they get upset because they see somebody else doing really good because they're doing like a big variety of content, making fun of people, and they see that as below them. But then they find somebody that they don't like, and they're like, oh, I wish I could make a video on them, but I don't know the drama about it. And then they're like, oh, but think about the views it'll get. And then they hit it, and then they get the views. And a lot of times when you attack somebody that's bigger than you, you're going to get hate. That's just how it works, bro. You're gonna get hate. I mean, it happens to me on the fucking daily, bro, and I just don't care, because I know that one day I will cultivate an audience that is here for me and not here for fucking whoever, here to white knight for whoever I'm making fun of. And I think that the problem with a lot of people like In Praise of Shadows is they can't handle criticism well. So when they try to do content like this, they're expecting everybody to just sit down and start sucking their dick as hard as they fucking can until the skin comes off. And that's not how the world works, my dog.
The channel has been in decline since late 2021, gaining literally 0 new subscribers for several months. It's no secret that making videos about other creators is an effective way to gain views. Just look at the vegan teacher whose entire career is supported by this concept. It's possible that Zane made this video to farm views from the controversy and drama it would generate, but unfortunately for him, it backfired spectacularly, and the backlash was immediate. Brandon Buckingham led the charge as one of the first YouTubers to respond to Zane's
Dude, when somebody goes after Brandon Buckingham, he goes scorched earth on their ass. It's funny because, like, Brandon Buckingham, not only does his, like, run around and be a jackass videos and, like, then does his, like, investigation videos. The dude has, like, a bunch of shit that he does. But he has done a few commentary videos, and when he fucking, when he's pissed at somebody, he goes fucking hard on their ass, bro. He spreads them their cheeks and fists the shit out of their assholes.
His statements. In a tweet reading, "Hey,
since I'm mixed, am I only half racist? I mean, well, you see, because of how much power the white side of you has, it overtakes the side that's the minority, and so then you become a full-blown racist. It's just like me when I wake up and I say, oh, I'm in a multicultural relationship, and I have different sides of the world and different colors in my household. That still means that I'm fucking racist because obviously, the white part of me is just screaming out to hate all races, and that's inherently makes me a villain."
Gray Shadows, going through every one of Wendigoon's friends and insulting them to try and paint him in a bad light makes you seem like a desperate and pathetic freak. Brandon also sarcastically praises Zane for using a picture of his grandpa after his brain surgery, reading, "Also, using a photo of my grandpa after his brain surgery is super cool of you. You seem like a great guy. I want to shake your hand." In a later tweet, Brandon points out the sheer insanity of 2 of the worst statements Zane made in his video. 1, labeling every white person living in Appalachia as racist, and 2, saying that Wendigoon should not be allowed in public spaces because he's conservative. In a tweet reading, "I forgive you for thoughtlessly defaming me, but claiming all white people in deep Appalachia should be assumed to be racist, and saying Wendigoon should not be allowed in public because of his assumed beliefs really shows how hateful and insane you are." The
whole thing, it's so funny because the guy's like trying to stand against bigotry or whatever while being the biggest fucking bigot in the world. He's sitting there with his little shrine of fucking marks in his house, praying to it, while thinking he wants to burn everybody at the stake who might have slightly different beliefs than him, which is just fucking hilarious. It's like, oh, bigotry for the, bigotry for them, but not for me. I can never be a bigot because I have the right beliefs. Right, guys? I have the right beliefs.
Community didn't hold back either. They started ripping apart Zane's absurd accusations line by line. For example, in his video, Zane tried to portray the YouTuber donut operator as a bad person by criticizing his content.
For example, one of his videos is titled "Predator Takes Shotgun to the Face" and features a picture of him smiling in the corner of the thumbnail next to an image of a terrified man about to be executed by cops, with the text that reads, "Head removal."
To which someone posted, "Oh,
now you only..."
What's so funny about this too, and like if he would have done a little bit of like actual research for the video, and I like Donut Operator. I think Donut Operator's pretty interesting content, but he says some wild shit on Twitter, bro. Bro's constantly just fucking at war with the left, dude. He is constantly trying to poo-poo on anybody who disagrees with him politically, right? He could have like spent like a day looking, not even a day, an hour looking through fucking Donut Operator's replies and utilize that for the video instead of like pulling a random thumbnail that he thought looked kind of racist and utilizing that as his entire evidence. The dude could have actually done some research and tried to, and he probably still would have been disingenuous about it. I'm not saying he wouldn't have, but if he would have done a little bit of research, he would have had like a much better takedown, and he couldn't even do that.
Wendigoon is friends with a guy who made fun of a PDF file who was rightfully shot. The absurd horror. Maybe we should check your hard drive. Which is a fair point. What's absurd is that the donut operator video Zane mentioned shows a predator getting shot by the police after he pulled a gun and tried to shoot the officers. So mentioning this in the video as something that makes donut operator, and by extension Wendigoon bad people, just makes Zane look like a PDF file defender. And as a reply to this tweet states, what's up with leftists getting very defensive in behalf of PDF files? As if the
and again, this just shows his lack of he could have utilized, because he already stood on the premise that all conservatives are bad. He could have utilized anything from Donut Operator's Twitter. He could have like done some actual research on all these people he's bringing into the mix, and I could see it. He being able to craft a narrative that because Donut Operator has these beliefs, and because he went on unsub or whatever, he is then what is the thing where you're like condoning somebody's beliefs because you had a conversation, whatever that fucking is, whatever that bullshit's called. He could have made a narrative for that, but instead he was like, because the thumbnail that I didn't even watch the video of says this, I'm gonna just use it. If he would have watched the video, he would have known that it was gonna backfire for him, and he could have just found a different avenue, but he was lazy. It was no research and being lazy.
Backlash on Twitter wasn't enough. The creator Zane Slandered, like some ordinary gamer, Brandon Buckingham, and Shoeonhead, also published full videos debunking his accusations and pointing massive holes in his arguments. Brandon also reached out to Wendigoon and asked for his response on this whole situation. And while everyone else was making fun of Zane for his terrible takes, Wendigoon's response was quite sane and mature, despite all the—
Bro, fucking Wendigoon was like, I don't want anybody to hate him. I hate that he slandered my friends, but I wish him only love. I thought his video on Schmiggelbiggleborg, whatever the video he made, he made some video that Wendigoon said that he liked. He's like, I thought he made some pretty good content. I don't want anybody to hate him. So that's all I have to say. Everybody else is like, suck 80 fucking dicks and praise the shadow, you stupid fucking clown. I hope your bucket spread. Which, I mean, it's fair when you slander a bunch of people are going to come out and be mad about it. I mean, it's happening again to Noah Samson. He slandered a bunch of people and now they're mad and they're suing him. I'm surprised nobody took legal action against him, but it would have been hard to prove that this smaller channel, in comparison to the people he's talking about, would have had a like actual effect when it instantly proved that his channel was in decline. His channel was in decline, and this was just a further nuke to drop his channel even more. And so I don't think they could have proved that it actually had any effect on their channels. But it's still the fact that he got away with like massive slander is insane.
Outlandish claims Zane made against him.
He seems to hate me a lot, which is fine. Not everyone has to like me. Have I ever said anything to this guy? Have I ever been rude to him, said anything about him? And I don't think I have. I've been a person that's had trouble forgiving other people, or like I've just harbored, hate towards other people in my life, and it's not fun to keep kind of this anger locked up. And it sounds like there's a lot of spitefulness. I'm not sure what I've done. The points he espoused in the video is that, it's because I followed him, because I liked his video. He took us something else. Maybe that's all. Maybe there's more. I don't know. But whatever it is, I'm sorry if I've attributed to that in any way. And regardless, I'm sorry he feels that way.
He even went as far to apologize to Zane just in case he ever did anything to hurt his feelings.
To him directly.
Dude, it's so nice. Such a nice response. I remember there was just people fucking dragging Zane's dick across the cheese grater over and over again. It was just, all Zane was becoming was a massive shredded cheese on the ground from everybody else. And Wendigoon's like, hey man, I'm sorry if I ever fucking hurt your feelings, dude. I didn't mean to do that.
I'm sorry, for this perception of anything I've given you. I'm sorry if I've ever devalued from you or your channel. I apologize. And I sincerely mean it. I hope you find whatever you're looking for. I want everyone, regardless if they like me or not, to do well. Christ didn't say love people who are nice to you. He just said love people. If you say stuff online, you're going to get pushback for it if it's, any kind of controversial, but I hope you don't let that deter you in the long run. I hope you can continue to pursue your dreams. I promise I will not try to stand in the way of that, and I hope none of my followers do.
This calm and collected response further reinforced the faith Wendigoon's fans had in him. It also served as direct evidence against everything Zane tried to convey in his video. Like this comment on YouTube mentions, ironically, In Praise of Shadow's video on him only really succeeded succeeded in giving Wendigoon positive clout, indirectly helping him. Of course, not every YouTuber Zane mentioned in the video responded with such kindness. Oomperville, for
No,
example.
fuck you, Embrace the Shadow. We're doing some dick boxing. Zane's just sitting there, not my penis, guys, not my penis, guys.
Decided to go on the offensive a bit.
All I can say, like, every time I see something like this, I think of that fucking scene from Billy Madison at the end.
Mr. Madison, what you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Zane, on the other hand,
That was 100% my feeling when watching the video. I was like, holy shit, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. What the fuck? There is no research behind this. This guy just said shit the whole time.
was also feeling the pressure from this immense backlash, leading to a lackluster response that did little to restore his online reputation. His video got ratioed to oblivion as soon as it went live, with over 27,000 dislikes in total. In response, Zane first deleted the entire 30-minute segment about Wendigoon, and then removed the video from his channel altogether, likely to dodge any more backlash.
And that's such, but okay, here's the thing. I hate when people like remove the video, like, and they're being big pussies about it. Like, well, I think maybe it was a smart idea for him to move the video, looking back on it, because he did slander a lot of fucking people, and that could be lawsuit material. That does go into a different thing. I hate when people make, like, criticism videos, and then they pussy out on it, because they were so fucking, like, powerful to put it out there to say that I'm fucking right, and then once they get pushed back, the video's gone. Lame.
However, he made the situation worse for himself by trying to argue his way out of the controversy on Twitter. You see, in one of his response tweets, Brandon said that Zane was moody because he looked like he had low testosterone and that he should exercise more, to which Zane responded by saying, "You using homophobic language to me, though in calling me a low testosterone freak, does not change my opinions about you. My base thoughts remain the same, even though I should have said them differently and not let that cloud my writing." In other words, Zane still stood by everything he said about Brandon and probably others. He just realized he needed to phrase it better. Brandon immediately shot back and called out Zane for continuing to slander him and making him seem like a villain by twisting his words. After spreading false accusations that I threatened to grape someone, this guy is now claiming I am homophobic because I said he seems like he has low testosterone. You are such a victim. Brandon further clarified, "I had no idea you were homosexual. I was calling you a low testosterone freak for being such a miserable, moody asshole who basically slandered me in an attempt to demonize."
I fucking love this shit. This another drama that was popping out at the same time was there's this YouTuber Keffals, right? And Mudahar made a video taking down Keffals and used some artwork from Just a Worm. I used it in a video, or used Just a Worm's artwork. Well, Just a Worm kind of left the internet because of this, because of how much attacking was happening against Just a Worm. But Keffals had used Just a Worm's artwork in her own fucking thumbnails. But when it's used, Keffals' version of the artwork's used in Mudahar's video. Oh, well, now it's homophobic depiction, or it's transphobic depictions of somebody. It's always utilizing the victimhood and utilizing these fucking tangential bullshits to make sure that you're the one that looks the most virtuous in the section, so that you don't have to actually refute any real claims. You're deflecting the actual claims over to the fucking La La Land and standing on some buzzword, and it's so cringe and lame and gay and annoying.
A close friend of mine. This humiliation, combined with the backlash of hundreds of other Twitter users, forced Zane to private his Twitter account. Unfortunately for Zane, the trouble was far from over. Someone had leaked the post he made for his Patreon supporters. Now, to be fair, there are some parts of this post that are pretty logical, considering what went down, like Zane apologizing for engaging himself in the wrong way and promising to avoid similar projects in the future. However, immediately after this, he goes back to saying that whatever he said in the video was right. right, reading, I thought that I was doing good here, and I think to an extent I did do some good, but I could have gone about it differently. He also made a community post on his YouTube channel with similarly mixed statements, apologizing while also trying to play the victim card, with a tweet from Chris the Narc reading,
I fucking hate this shit, dude. If you fuck up and you say something wrong, just say I fucked up, bro. It's so simple. It's so simple, dog. Just I fucked up. And then he made an apology video that was just like, I fucked up, but also I'm not the bad guy, guys. But so sometimes happen, but I'm also the victim, guys. It's so fucking cringe, bro. Just be like, yeah, dude, I should have done better research. It was on me. I feel like I pulled the video down because I knew that it was in bad faith. I knew that I didn't do the research that was necessary. I was mad that Wendigoon had the following he had when I vehemently disagree with his beliefs. That was kind of my premise, and I was wrong. I was wrong about the guy. Wendigoon's statement was nice. I definitely misread the situation. That would have been such a better response, but instead he's just like, but I'm the victim, guys. But please feel bad for me.
He put out a community post saying he's received harassment. I do not condone it, but you kind of invoke karma when you straight misreport or lie about people. And just when you think he couldn't dig himself a deeper hole, someone leaks his posts from his Discord server, and he's still in complete denial and believes he's 100% in the right, with a message reading,
yeah, nobody in the video has actually refuted any of what I said, lol. They only point out small individual things that are wrong, but don't actually go as far to say that I wasn't right. Bro, you were wrong on like so many things. People made like hours and hours amount of content about you because you just said everything wrong. You refused to do even the smallest bit of research to prove your points. You used tweets that were fake. Everything about your shit was misleading and wrong. So when you point out 1,000 things, but one thing might be right, at that point, nobody's gonna believe the one thing that's right because you didn't do the effort that was needed to make the shit like fucking logical.
oh yeah, nobody in the video has actually refuted any of what I said, lol. They only point out small individual things that are wrong, but don't actually go as far to say that what I said wasn't right. At this point, it's clear that no counter-argument will make Zane fully admit that what he said about Wendigoon and other YouTubers was baseless and lacked any real evidence. If it's not clear by now, in Zane's mind, the only correct opinion is his own, and everyone else is just a misinformed bully who's harassing him online for stating the truth. Unfortunately, it looks like there's nothing the rest of us can do to make him see the light and find the error in his thinking. As for his career on YouTube, the future of his channel is in his own hands. Most people will move on to the next big controversy within a few weeks and forget all about Zane's 3.5 hours of ramblings. And while a handful of people would keep reminding him of his mistakes, their feedback doesn't really matter in the long run. The thing is, Zane did find some success from this whole debacle. Since posting the controversial video, his Patreon supporters have increased by over 45%. This gives him the chance to get back on his feet. All he has to do is stay away from future controversy and make high-quality videos on the topics which made him popular in the first place. Horror movie analysis. He still has over 390,000 subscribers, many of whom don't really care about his controversial political views and are just waiting for his next video. This is in stark contrast to Illuminati, whose situation still continues to get worse, with almost the entirety of her audience turning against her. Click the video on screen to find out more.
Why is that?
I mean, here's the thing. Like, if we go to his channel, let's see how he's doing now. Because I know he's posted since the whole debacle, right? Let's go to, I mean, like, his views were sitting, let's go try to find a meaning. I mean, there's All Hills of Eyes. That one didn't do as well. That was 77. It looks like a low video for him before the drama was sitting around 64,000 views. He, since this debacle, he posted 1, 2, 3, right? 3 videos. And he has a second channel where he posted the apology, but he honestly has dropped in views so substantially, like 38,000, 18,000, when before he was steadily staying around the 100,000. Are you okay, little girl? But he was sitting around the above 100,000 views per video, with the occasional one that dropped below, and his last 2 did absolutely abysmal, bro. I mean, like 12 days. Hey y'all. No. So he hasn't really talked about it. Whined about his views, but yeah, they're definitely on the downslope. I mean, I don't want him to fail. I hope that he does take this as maybe I should try to look at things from a critical eye instead of trying to make everything about my political beliefs. I think that that's where he really fucking that's where he really fucked up. That was his big blunder in everything was the fact that he absolutely refused to look at any opposing beliefs or views to his with any critical light or any trying to be genuine whatsoever. He just went in with malicious intent from the beginning, and when you do that, it's gonna hurt you from a investigative standpoint, because if you're this like deep essayist, video essayist, and you come out and people see that you don't actually do research and you're just pulling things out of the depths of your asshole and scraping your prostate so that you can hit that little G spot on the way by, you're not going to be looked at in good faith anymore. And a lot of your viewers that were kind of centrist or whatever and liked both Wendigoon and you, because there was going to be a giant overlap between the two, they're not going to watch your shit anymore. You're going to lose that entire viewer base. They're just going to they're either going to unsub or they're just going to ignore you for oblivion, because most people who sub to shit on YouTube, they will sub and then watch them for a while and then forget about them for all of eternity. That's all I got on that, guys. I know it's kind of an old drama, but I wanted to jump back into it, kind of have a little bit of fun with something that happened in the past. It's, I don't know, it's entertaining to me to sometimes look at some of these dramas that are getting forgotten about, but let me know if you like it. If you don't like it, give me a dislike and a mean comment. I don't care. I will keep making my content regardless of what y'all think, but I'll catch you on the next one.